Hi, this is Chris Walker. You know that specific kind of letdown? The one where you've spent months, maybe years, saving up for the pinnacle of tech. You finally get it on the wall, and within 10 minutes, you're just staring at the receipt? That's where I'm at right now with the flagship we've all been hearing about for 2026. I wanted this to be the one. I really did. I wanted to come on here and tell you that the hype was real, but after 72 hours of real-world testing, I'm just frustrated. It's not that it's bad in a vacuum, it's that it's dishonest. We're being sold these infinite contrast dreams that fall apart the second a sunbeam hits the room or you try to watch a dark thriller. It's a hype train wreck, and I'm the guy standing on the tracks telling you to jump off before you spend $4,000. Look, if you're tired of the polished, sent-for-free reviews and you want the raw truth about what's actually worth your paycheck, hit that like button and subscribe. It's how we keep the lights on here without taking a dime from these brands. Seriously, it helps more than you know. Okay, let's break down exactly where the marketing department lied to you. Look, before we get into the weeds with this specific unit, we have to talk about the state of the living room in 2026. It's a mess. Every brand right now is playing this dangerous game of spec sheet chicken. They're all chasing these 5,000 nit peaks that, let's be real, no one actually wants unless they're trying to get a tan while watching The Bear. We've moved past the era of, is it 4K? Everything is 4K, even the cheap stuff you find in the checkout aisle. Now, the marketing buzzwords are all about AI-driven luminance and neural contrast mapping. It sounds sophisticated, right? It sounds like you're buying a piece of the future. But when you strip away the press releases and the shiny keynotes, what we're actually seeing is a plateau. The hardware is struggling to keep up with the software's promises.
The industry is desperate to make you upgrade your 2023 or 2024 flagship, and they're doing it by cranking the brightness until the panel starts to degrade and calling it innovation. That brings us to the elephant in the room, the Lumina Ultra 85. This is the TV that every influencer, every tech site, and even my neighbor has been screaming about for 6 months. It's the first quantum fusion panel, or so they say. On paper, this thing is a god, 85 inches of pure, unadulterated next-gen tech. But I've spent the last 4 days staring at this thing. And I mean staring, like nose-to-glass, macro lens. And the reality is a lot less future and a lot more finishing school. Let's talk about the first hour with this thing. You spend $4,000, you expect the unboxing to feel like a religious experience. Instead, it felt like a liability. The stand, get this, is mostly high-grade plastic. For an 85-inch panel that weighs as much as a small dog, it's insulting. I felt the flex the second we tried to lift it onto the media console. Here's where it gets weird, I told my producer. You look at the back and it's all sleek brushed metal, but the actual structural points feel like they were an afterthought. And the setup? I know what you're thinking. Chris, it's a smart TV, you just hit next. No, not in 2026. This thing forced me to create a Lumina Cloud account just to access the calibrated picture modes. Think about that. You bought the hardware, but you don't own the colors until you give them your email and let them track your viewing habits. It's a hardware trap, plain and simple. Now let's get into the quantum fusion performance. This is supposed to combine the black levels of OLED with the blinding brightness of mini LED. And for the first 5 minutes, it's impressive. You put on a nature dock, you see the sun reflecting off a lizard's scales, and you think, okay, maybe the hype was right. But then the cognitive drift kicks in. That's what I call the point where the TV's AI starts trying too hard. You're watching a movie with a dark, moody aesthetic, and the TV decides, hey, I should probably brighten that corner so Chris can see the wall texture. No, I don't want to see the wall texture. I want the director's vision. I spent 3 hours trying to turn off the auto enhance feature, only to find out it's baked into the firmware at a core level. You can't truly turn it off. You're paying for a TV that thinks it knows better than the person who filmed the movie. It's that soap opera effect on steroids, but for lighting.
And the infinite contrast? Look, I'll be honest with you, it's a lie. In a pitch black room, if you have a bright object on a dark background, the blooming is worse than some 2024 mid-range models I've tested.
I measured the light leakage with our sensors, and it's hitting levels that shouldn't exist in a flagship in 2026. It's like they focused so much on the quantum part that they forgot how to actually manage the fusion. It's messy. It's like buying a Ferrari and finding out the transmission only works in third gear. Sure, it's fast when it gets there, but the journey is frustrating as hell. Then there's the OS. They call it Neural OS, which is just a fancy way of saying, we're going to show you ads for Netflix shows while you're trying to switch to your PS6. It's laggy, it's bloated, and every time I try to adjust the brightness, it takes 2 seconds for the menu to pop up. 2 seconds in 2026? We have chips in our phones that can render 8K video in real time, but a $4,000 TV can't open a settings menu without a hiccup? It's embarrassing. It feels like the hardware was designed by one team and the software was outsourced to the lowest bidder. If that Lumina mess feels like a punch in the gut, this next one is where the math actually starts to make sense, but it comes with a butt big enough to park a truck on it. Let's talk about the Zenith Q9. Now, Zenith has been the safe choice for a few years, right? They don't usually push the envelope, they just make a solid, reliable panel. But for 2026, they went rogue. They decided to tackle the one thing every other brand is ignoring, the actual glass. Most of these TVs use a high gloss finish that turns your living room into a mirror the second a lamp turns on. The Q9 uses this etched vapor coating, and man, it is spooky. You can point a flashlight directly at this screen, and you just see this soft, dispersed glow. It's the first time in a decade I haven't seen my own reflection during a dark scene in The Batman. But, and here's the stuff they don't tell you in the manual, that coating has a weird side effect. If you look at it from a 45-degree angle, the colors shift. It's like looking through a very thin layer of oil. Zenith calls it angle-optimized diffusion, which is just marketing speak for don't sit on the end of the couch. If you're a solo watcher or a couple sitting dead center, it's the best image on the market. If you're hosting a Super Bowl party, your friends on the side chairs are going to think they're watching a TV from 2015. It's these weird trade-offs that drive me crazy. Why can't we just have it all? I'll tell you why. Because these companies think we won't notice as long as the box says AI on it. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Chris, I'm not spending $4,000. What about the Value King? That's usually the V series, and on the surface, the 2026 V series looks like a steal. It's got the 144Hz refresh rate, it's got the HDMI 2.1 ports, it checks every box on the spec sheet. But look, I'll be honest with you, I've had 2 of these units in the studio this week, and both of them have the same ghosting issue. You're playing a game, you turn your character quickly, and you see a trail behind them like they're wearing a cape made of pixels. I reached out to their support and they told me, and I'm quoting here, this is within normal operating parameters for a value tier product. Normal? Since when is a blurry image normal just because it's $1,000 cheaper? That's the kind of corporate gaslighting that makes me want to throw the remote through the screen. And speaking of remotes, the V-Series remote has a shopping button, a physical, non-remappable button that takes you to a marketplace to buy vacuum cleaners and dog food. You're literally paying hundreds of dollars for a piece of hardware that has a billboard built into the controller. It's gross. It's a hardware trap disguised as a bargain. If you value your sanity, you stay away from this one, even if the price tag looks tempting. Here's where it gets even weirder though. If you're looking for that home cinema feel, and you're realizing these 85-inch TVs are just expensive mirrors, maybe you don't need a TV at all.
Enter the Titan X Projector. This is the 2026 wildcard. It's a 4K laser UST, ultra short throw, meaning it sits right against the wall. Now, projectors used to be for the hardcore nerds, right? People with dedicated basements and blackout curtains. But the Titan X is trying to be a TV replacement. It's got built-in speakers that actually, well, they don't suck. They actually have some thump to them. And the image size? You're getting 120 inches for the price of that 85-inch Lumina. I know what you're thinking, I said to my editor while we were setting this up. The brightness is going to be terrible. And yeah, in the middle of the day with the curtains open, it's a struggle. It looks like a faded photograph. But here's the lived voice truth about projectors. They require maintenance that no one talks about. The Titan X has these tiny air filters. If you don't clean them every 2 weeks, the fans start sounding like a jet engine taking off. I've had this thing for 10 days, and the filter alert has already gone off twice because of the dust in our studio. It's a high-maintenance relationship. It's like owning a vintage sports car. When it's running and the lights are low, it's the best visual experience you can have in 2026, period. But you have to work for it. You have to manage the lighting, you have to clean the filters, and you have to deal with the fact that it takes 30 seconds to warm up. So you look at these 4 options and you start to see a pattern. The flagship is a hype trap. The reliable one has a seating position tax. The budget one is a data mining machine. And the cool one is a part-time job. This is the reality of the tech market in 2026. They aren't selling you a better experience anymore. They're selling you a specific set of problems and hoping you pick the ones you can live with. It's frustrating. It's exhausting. But that's why we do these deep dives, to find the least broken path for your money. Because at the end of the day, your wallet is the only thing these brands actually respect. Look, I'm going to keep digging into the technical data. We've got the color gamut charts and the input lag numbers coming up in part 2. But I need to pause here for a second. This channel only works because of you. I'm not here to please Lumina or Sony or Samsung. I'm here for you. So right now, drop a comment below. I want to know, what's the one piece of tech you bought because of the hype that ended up being a total dud? Or is there a specific 2026 model you're eyeing that you want me to put through the ringer next? I read every single one of these, and it literally dictates what we test next. We're building this roadmap together, so let me know what's on your radar. Look, if that Lumina flagship feels like a betrayal of your wallet and the others we've looked at are just compromises and suits, then we have to ask, who are these things actually for? Because the marketing says everyone, but the reality says people who like shiny objects and don't ask questions. If you're the person who wants the absolute pinnacle of picture quality, the person who can actually spot the difference between black and almost black, then you're looking at the Samsung S95F. The 77-inch is the sweet spot, or the LG G5. These are the home cinema elites. The S95F is for the person who wants colors that pop so hard they almost look real, QD OLED at its finest. The LG G5 is for the purist, the one who wants Dolby Vision and a TV that disappears against the wall like a piece of art. These aren't just screens, they're investments in your downtime. But here's where it gets weird. The 83-inch version of that Samsung actually uses a different panel tech than the smaller ones. They don't put that on the box, but I'm telling you now, if you go for the biggest one, you're not getting the same peak performance as the 77. It's a hardware trap that almost no one talks about. Now, if you're the rational buyer, the one who wants 90% of the performance for 50% of the price, then you're looking at the TCL QM8K or the Hisense U8N. These are the value kings. They're bright enough to fight a direct sunbeam and they handle gaming like a pro. Are the blacks as inky as an OLED? No. Is there a bit of blooming around subtitles? Yeah, sometimes. But when you're watching a Sunday afternoon game or a Pixar movie with the kids, you won't care. You'll just be happy you have an extra $2,000 in your bank account. But let's get to the truth bomb conclusion. The real best value in 2026 isn't actually a 2026 model. It's finding a 2025 LG C5 on clearance. I'm serious. The jump from 2025 to 2026 has been about 80% marketing and 20% engineering. The C5 has the same 144Hz refresh rate, nearly the same peak brightness, and an OS that actually feels stable. If you buy the latest and greatest right now, you're basically paying a hype tax to help these brands recover their R&D costs. So here is the final verdict, and I'm going to be completely uncompromising here. The winner? If you want the best TV you can buy in 2026, it's the LG G5. It's the only one that doesn't feel like it's trying to trick you with AI gimmicks or hidden cloud accounts. It just performs. The value pick? Buy a TCL QM8K. It's the people's flagship. It's loud, it's bright, and it's honest about what it is. The avoid list? Stay away from the Lumina Ultra 85 until they fix the firmware, and avoid any budget TV with a physical shopping button on the remote. Your home is not a billboard. Look, the links below are to vetted sources that I've personally checked for shipping reliability and actual warranty support. Using them is the safe path because it ensures you're getting the latest revision of the hardware and not some dusty unit that's been sitting in a hot warehouse for 6 months. It also supports this channel so we can keep buying these things with our own money and telling you the truth. Don't let the marketing departments win. Buy for your room, buy for your eyes, and most importantly, buy for your wallet. I'm Chris Walker, and I'll see you in the next one.